All right, welcome back, everybody. It's 2015, new year, new you. Hopefully, we got lots to talk about today, and really, this is just geared towards people looking to start off the new year with a new goal, but more importantly, how to attain that goal. Most people, actually, not even most people, start goals, but the people who do share those goals will actually find out only about 20% actually attain the goals they set. So we're going to get into this a little bit today. So I want to welcome all the young realtors back from their vacations, and every guest that we have online today with us today. Just want to welcome you to Young Realty and the Young Realty Academy. So let's get started. So this year, we're going to be talking, we're going to have several different training sessions this year. We have something called the Live Realtor Coaching. That's with all the other different coaches in the industry. We have Brian Buffini, Craig Proctor. We have Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry. We have Jay Abraham. All those coaches are going to be coming to us throughout the year and coaching you on a weekly basis. That's called Live Realtor Coaching. Then we have something. It's basically this is like a free webinar we're doing today, and then that we'll be doing weekly free sessions, and those are going to be fairly light, just quick recaps on things that if you're a realtor and you need some advice, it's a good basis to get going on that. So with this one, we're going to be talking about goals, not necessarily goal setting, but really goal attainment. So who needs goals? This is what we're going to be talking about today. So who needs goals? Why do so many people fail at their goals? And just give up already. You know you eventually will, because most people actually do quit. And that's the sort of basis behind what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be really talking about persistence, how to actually attain the goal through persistence. So it doesn't sound very promising, especially coming from me. But that being said, only 40% of people actually in North America, there's a study done, 40% of people actually set a goal or a resolution in the new year, which is pretty awful if you think about it. And of those 40% of people, only 60% of them actually have success. So it hovers around the 20% mark. People actually have a resolution or goal that they actually attain in the new year. So if you think about that, 80% of the population does the same thing they did last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. Now, when it comes to real estate, obviously this is a fairly generalized conversation today, but when it comes to real estate sales, if you look at most agents' revenues, it's the same year after year after year after year. Every agent has great intentions at the start of each year, but they don't attain the goal because they don't have what we call persistence. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But when it comes to goals in a generalized way, who needs goals? So I talk about, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. I talk about my son a lot. He's 3 now. So he needs goals. We don't actually set goals for him, but we are very persistent with him. Get out of bed, get your breakfast. You got to get to daycare, school. We have to set small goals for him. And there's no difference if you're 3, 36, 64, 84. It doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are. Everybody needs a goal. So in real estate, if you don't set a goal, a target, then you're not going to be able to get sort of a new realization of what you want in the new year. So that being said, in order to get goals, you have to figure out what you need to do. So you have to set the goal. And then why so many people fail? One, they overestimate what they can do in a short period of time, but they really underestimate what they do over the course of an entire year. So, for example, if you haven't lost 30 pounds this week, and it's been 7 days in the new year, if you haven't lost that weight already, you might as well just give up. Right? Sounds ridiculous. But if you haven't earned that $1 million either in the first 7 days of the year, you might as well just give up. It sounds ridiculous, but that's how most people think, unfortunately. They say, well, I'm not getting the results I'm getting. I don't have that 6-pack yet. Well, that all that occurs because you overestimate what you can do in a short period of time. So if you've never been to the gym before in your entire life and you want to lose weight this year, you're going to get frustrated in the first 7 days of the year, or the first 14 days or 21 days or 30 days. But over the course of the year, you'll be, if you stick with it over the course of 365 days, you'll be far better off than if you just quit in January like most people do. So when it comes to real estate, a lot of people say, oh, I want to double my income from last year, or I want to make my annual income into a monthly income, which is what I want all our realtors doing. The challenge with that is most people, the first 7 days of any year, especially in real estate, not much happens. The market's slow. Realtors are still getting back from vacation. Most people don't even have business plans in place. So there's a lot of things that you basically put too much weight on yourself, which gets us into the next topic. So I just say quit. And I don't mean quit in the sense of quit your goal, but quit being so hard on yourself. Quit putting so much pressure on yourself in the first week of the year or in the first, 14 days, 20 days, or 30 days. This is going to be an entire year worth of change and progression for anybody listening to this conversation today. This is going to be a pattern that I'm going to be repeating throughout the year, throughout the weeks. And as we go through it, you're going to start seeing changes. Those changes are going to be reflections of what you're going to be doing from the past to the future. So this year, if you want a new goal or a new resolution or a new result, you're going to have to start with the whole process. But number one, you got to quit being so hard on yourself, especially in the first week of the year. This is when most people fail. One, not a lot of people set the goal, so that's a challenge. But two, the people who do set the goals, they're so hard on themselves, they don't see the immediate result that they just quit. That's why there's so much quitting that occurs in January. The problem is if you go to a gym in February, there's nobody there. You go to a gym now, they're packed. They're shoulder to shoulder, wall to wall people. So that being said, just stick with it. You have to be persistent. So with this, okay, yeah. So when I was doing some over the last 3 weeks, I really haven't been working much. I just got back to work this past Monday myself, but I was doing a lot of sort of reflection and reading and catching up with work I had to do over the past year. And one of the books I came across was this book about achievement, and there's an actual science. There's a science behind persuasion. There's a science behind persistence. There's a science behind how you actually get to say yes, how you get that initial inertia to start moving. So there's scientists literally devote their entire lives to why people say yes to things, why certain people achieve and why people don't. And one of the things they actually came up with, there's an actual scientific term. It's called activation energy. This activation energy is the amount of energy required from someone to do nothing to something. So to do no goal to get a goal, to not work out to getting to work. That initial inertia is called activation energy. The problem is that force is so great for most people that a lot of people, 80% of the population, they'd rather not be in shape than be in shape. That energy is almost too great to overcome. And the only way to overcome that is to do it and break it down into smaller steps. So you want to earn $1 million this year and selling real estate and you've never done it before in your life, that activation energy is going to be so great because your habitual way of doing business over the past, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, doesn't matter how long you've been in business, it's been so ingrained in your mind that to overcome that, this activation energy, this initial inertia is going to be very, very difficult to do. So that being said, you have to stick with it. You have to be persistent. You have to keep going after it and after it and after it. So how to start getting everything. One, make your goals and resolutions attainable. I still want you to think big. We're going to talk about goals probably next week, but just a quick recap. A goals, B goals, and C goals. A goals are goals you already know how to do, right? So if you earned $100,000 last year and your goal this year is to earn $100,000, you already know how to do it. So it's not a great goal. A B goal is a goal that you know you can do if you had a plan in place and that plan came to fruition. And a C goal is a fantasy goal. It's a goal that you have no idea how to do. You don't have a plan in place, but if you had it, you enjoy life that much better. So that's really what I want everybody pursuing is these fantasy goals. That being said, though, if you have a fantasy goal that is so out there and you don't know how to do it, the only way to break it down is to break it down into smaller chunks. Because this activation of this initial inertia to get going, it's going to be too great for you to overcome. So you'll just hit that brick wall and you won't do anything about it. So that being said, so you got to break it down to smaller and smaller steps. So what you need to do is create a plan with the big goal and try and get it down to a daily, if not hourly or sort of like bi-daily things to do. So like phone calls, emails, follow-ups. You have to have a whole system and a whole plan in place. So two, this is to me is one of the biggest things that goes back to pressure. I said stop putting so much pressure on yourself and just quit putting the pressure on yourself. One of the things most people don't realize is you're going to screw up. It doesn't matter what you do in life. And most people don't have that thought process. If you missed a day at the gym this week, don't worry about it. You're going to screw up. You're going to miss days at the gym. Just keep going with it. You have to be persistent. So what you're going to need to do is if I started a business and that business failed, that doesn't mean I'm not going to start another business ever again. It just means I have to learn from that mistake and go forward. So one, you're going to screw up. You have to put screw ups in your plans. So if your plans are earn $1 million this year, you're going to have to put something in place. You're going to have to put a contingency in there. You're going to have to say, well, if I don't earn $1 million, sort of what's plan B, right? So where are you going to screw up along the way, especially if you've never done it before? Be persistent. This is probably the most relevant topic we're going to be talking about today is be persistent, be motivated, have passion. Persistence is the key to achieving everything in life. Napoleon Hill, in his great book, Think and Grow Rich, says, persistence is the character of man what carbon is to steel. Without persistence, you cannot achieve anything in life. You just cannot do it. If you look at all the successful people in the world, all the richest people in the world, they are very persistent people. Doesn't matter what struggles they're up against, doesn't matter what walls they're hitting, doesn't matter what hurdles they have to overcome. They are very persistent people. And I'm self-proclaimed persistent myself. It doesn't matter what anybody's going to tell me I can't do, I'm still going to do it. Okay, I've had a lot of people over the course of my life tell me I can't do things. I can't play in the CFL. I did that. I can't be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. I did that. I can't start my own brokerage. I did that. And we're just growing and growing and growing. We will be the largest brokerage in the country eventually, and no one's going to stop us from doing that. I just be very persistent, and that's what you have to instill that in yourself as well. So the majority of people are ready to throw their goals and purposes at the first sign of opposition. When it comes to like this morning, we had I was coming into work. It was super cold. Like there's a problem with the elevators in the building. I thought I was going to be late for the webinar. That is an opposition that if you weren't persistent, if you weren't someone who was passionate and driven, you would probably say, I'll just forget this webinar. I'll do it tomorrow, or we'll delay it. Oh no, because I did whatever I could to be here on time. And that's just the way you have to be. You have to have passion. You have to go through life, and you have to go towards your goals with this passion and this purpose that is going to be it's going to overcome any obstacle. So I put some examples here. Have you started working out yet? Have you seen your six-pack yet? Are you at your goal weight yet? Well, you better give up. It sounds ridiculous, but this is really how people think, which is unfortunate. It's this pressure they put on themselves, which is why I keep saying quit putting the pressure on yourself. Don't quit your goal. Just quit being so difficult on yourself. Quit being so hard on yourself. So this book, Think and Grow Rich, is made, well, it's made me millions. It's made a lot of people I know millions of dollars, but you have to use the book properly. So one, if you don't have this book, if you've never read this book, go out today. Don't even wait till tomorrow. Go out today and get the book. Okay, you can probably even get it online nowadays. You probably download it for free. But if you don't have a copy, go get the copy. Part of our homework today is going to be reading a chapter in this book called Persistence. But if you want a great start to the year, it doesn't matter what your goals are, whether it's a physical goal, an emotional goal, if it's a financial goal, business goal, spiritual goal, it doesn't matter what the goal is. Okay, this book will help you guide you towards that goal much faster. It helped me, and it's helped a lot of people that I know as well. So one of the things about this book is my personal mentor, Bob Proctor. He reads this book. He's been reading this book now since he was 26 years old. He's 81 now, I think. So he's been reading he's never missed one day. He's always reads at least a page in the book every single day of his entire life since he was 26 years old. This guy earns millions of dollars a year. His company last year grossed just under $100 million, which in one calendar year for the self-help motivational business, it's an incredible year. So for me, he instructs me every January to read this book and chapter on persistence every single day for 30 days, the first 31 days of the year in January. I've been doing that for 3 years in a row now. Now, I know what's in the book. I know what's in the chapter. It's the same words over and over again. The first 7 days of the year, I've read it 7 times now so far this year. I'm learning newer things every single day, which is great. The problem is come day 21, day 22, it's very repetitive. But as you do this, you're building this repetition. You're building the persistence habit by doing this chapter, reading this chapter every single day. Some nights this year, I've had to read it at like 11:30 at night because I just don't have the time. This morning, I had to read it first thing when I woke up because I've got meetings throughout the entire day. So what you need to do is pick up the book, go get the chapter on persistence. You can even probably most likely download it on Google or something like that. Get the book, get the chapter, and read Persistence. And if you haven't started January 1st, that's okay. Start January 7th. Every day is the start of a new year. January 7th, if you want to make that your new year, then just start January 7th and make your calendar year till January 7th, 2016. That's all you need to do. So just do 30 days or 31 days, depending on when you start, and read that chapter every single day. You'll start to see some big changes. So without persistence, you've already failed. If you set a goal and you don't have that persistence habit, then you're going to already fail the goal. It's just that simple. Persistence, like Napoleon Hill said, is like the character of man, just like carbon is to steel. You cannot achieve anything in life without persistence. You will hit these roadblocks. You will hit these potholes in life. You will hit these obstacles that you don't know how to overcome. Without the persistence habit, you will for sure not hit your goals. And this is why the large part of the population fails to achieve their goals. Well, one, they don't set the goal, and two, they don't understand the idea of persistence. This just keep going attitude, just never give up attitude. Spasmodic or occasional efforts and persistence is a recipe for disaster. The problem is you can't be persistent today and then lazy tomorrow, and then you say, oh, I'll pick up my goal again on Friday. That doesn't work that way. You have to be persistent. You have to be going towards your goal every single day. If you wake up and you state to yourself what your goal is, I want to be earning $1 million a year selling real estate in 2015, you have to say that every single day. And then once you set that goal, you have to be persistent throughout your day on how to achieve that goal. Is it follow-up phone calls? Is it more leads? Is it better return to your client? Is it providing more services? You have to figure that out for yourselves. So when it comes to large goals and attainment of goals, you're better off to move slowly in small steps than it is to say, I'm just going to go for the whole goal in the first week or two of the year. This is why you see the gym being empty by the end of January, because no one's there and nobody has this. They take this, they've never been to the gym before in their lives, and then all of a sudden they want to go to the gym every single day of the year. And what happens is they just burn out very, very quickly. And they don't have that persistence habit, and they don't have that motivation because it's really not something that they're driven by. I keep going back to that. It's the number one goal that's set by I think it's like 90% of the population actually does set goals. Their goal is to lose weight and get back into the gym, be more fit. So that's why I keep going back to this goal. It's all relatable to anything though, especially real estate sales. So Jim Rohn, if you've never followed Jim Rohn, he's a fantastic guy. He's passed on now. He died back in 2009. But he was sort of the trailblazer for a lot of the public speakers, motivational speakers that you know today. Les Brown, Tony Robbins, some of the big boys in the world, they actually trained directly under Jim Rohn. So he has some incredible insights into life, and he goes about it in a way that's very applicable. So you can understand it much better than most speakers. Tony Robbins, that feels he gets too detailed information about physiology and psychology and how things work, whereas Jim Rohn really settles it down and makes it an easier, clearer message to understand. Two of his biggest things he spoke about, and I think they're probably the most important things you have to think about, are cumulative disaster and cumulative results. So what that means is each day that you make a decision is going to be built on the previous day's decisions. Excuse me, I just had to take a water break there. So he talks about he talks about a story about the apple a day theory. So if you think about cumulative disaster, and people say, well, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and say, well, I didn't eat an apple today and I didn't fall down, I didn't have a heart attack, so I guess the theory doesn't work out. That's not quite how it works. So he says if you eat an apple today, the doctor will be away 10 years from now. So you have to do this every single day for 10 years so that the doctor will stay away. You have to eat your fruits and vegetables over a period of time. Today's decisions will be built on tomorrow's decisions. Tomorrow's decisions, again, it will be just this cumulative effect. So as you build up, it's either going to be a disaster or it's going to be an incredible result. The challenge is you won't know what you're doing until you see the result at the end. Today, you are the person you are today because of your cumulative results over the past year, 2 years, your entire life. So that being said, a lot of people, they go down this waterfall and they don't even know they're going down. They're paddling down a river, and at the end of the river, you're either going to fall off this waterfall, this cliff, or you're going to continue going down the river. The problem is you don't know what's at the end of it. So you have to figure out what you want to be at the end of it, and then backtrack and say, what do I have to do today? Okay. A lot of people don't see that result immediately, so they just keep going down the path of where the waterfall is going to go over the cliff. And that being said, that's a cumulative disaster because you're going to get to a point where you say, these are not the results that I want. I hope that's making a lot of sense to people. To me, I understand where we're going with the company, with Young Realty. I understand where we're going with the results and the sales. And every single day, I've got to build the company a little bit more every single day. That's the only way I can do it. So the problem is if I don't do that, I'll say, well, I didn't finish this today and I didn't see a large effect today. But in 5 years from now, that could be a huge difference. Where we go here. Sorry, here we go. Yeah, so there's a book. It's called The Slight Edge. There's also a book called The Razor's Edge. There's a horse called The Razor's Edge years ago. All these books, they talk about the difference between how small the difference that a success and non-success actually means to people. The Slight Edge, they talk about golf. I'm a big golf fan. It's hard to think about golf on a day like today. You're in Toronto. It's, I don't know what it is, like minus 20 degrees out or something. It's very, very cold. But I wouldn't be golfing today, but I would love to be golfing. Don't get me wrong. But when you do go golfing, the difference between a perfect drive and a drive that you put into the river or to the lake or into the woods is literally 1 millimeter. So if you study golf and you study the professionals, when they want to do a draw or they want to do a hook or they want to do something that's different, a curve to the ball, the shift in the golf face is literally only 1 millimeter. And the book calls The Slight Edge. You should check it out. It's by Jeff Olson. It's a great book. They talk about that, and they also talk about this horse called the Razor's Edge. The Razor's Edge was a horse, I think, in the 40s or 50s. I'd have to double check the years, but what he continually winning and winning and winning. The problem is there was another horse who kept coming in second. He could not beat the Razor's Edge, but there are two very competing horses. They were literally finishing 1-2 in every single race. The Razor's Edge, who finished first, he won millions of dollars in prize money and endorsements, and he had everything. The horse who kept coming in second was literally losing by the fraction of a second to every single race. It's just small margin of difference, right? It was literally just like the tip of their nose that was making the difference in most of these races. The problem is that the horse who kept coming in second, he had to eventually didn't continue racing. They ran out of money. They went broke. They didn't have any endorsement deals. But the small margin of victory is very, very tiny. So when it comes to cumulative results, when it comes to things that you want to do better, you just have to make these small, tiny little changes to your current business to really see big results. But you have to do them consistently, and you have to be persistent. You have to do this every single day. So, for example, if you've never spoke to your past clients, and this year you want to do a double of your income, if every single day you just made one phone call, it's a small, tiny little difference. But if you did 365 phone calls over the course of a year, your business probably would not even double, try triple, if not quadruple. That's what happened to me in my third year of real estate. That's what I started doing with my clients. I went from $125,000 a year to about $275,000 a year in my third year. And the only difference I made, I wasn't even making phone calls. I was just sending out notes to people. That's all I did. That was the only difference. It's such a small, tiny difference, but it can make a big result. So today we're talking about a lot of different things, but I think for most of the people on the line today, you're either realtors or you're thinking about getting into the business, if wealth is what you're after, if wealth is something that you're going to pursue in life, then persistence needs to be right at the top of your list of things and habits you need to form. If you feel for any second that you don't have this persistence habit, and you need to form it, you need to get the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and read the chapter on persistence. And what I do, as my mentor tells me to do, I'm a good student, and what he does, he says, read the chapter every single day for 31 days, every January. So this is my third year in a row now doing this. And I've seen some big results because of it. Now, that being said, I'll go back to the fact that I know that chapter word for word now. I don't need to read it to understand what's in it, but I do it to build this habit of persistence, to do something that's consistent. And that's what everyone needs to do. And what you have to understand is riches, they do not respond to wishes. They only respond to definite plans backed by definite desires through constant persistence. This is what's in the chapter. And when it comes to wealth, a lot of people, they wish they had more, but they don't actually attain it. And the problem is wishing cannot just bring the wealth into yourself. Just thinking about it won't bring it in. Action steps is what's going to create different results. So you have to change the action to change the results. If you spoke to me at any point in time in the last year, you've probably heard me say this. In order to change your life, you have to change your life. It sounds funny, but that's exactly what you have to do. In order to change your results, you're going to have to change your action steps. It's that simple. If you don't have the ability to change that action step, then you have to habitually do it. You have to change yourself over a period of time. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, which is why so many people fail. They just think they have to do this overnight. They think they're going to change all of a sudden in the first 7 days of the year. It's just not going to happen. It's going to take a course of a year to really make these changes habitual. So you don't even think about it. You just form this success habit. So in the chapter, they talk about how to develop persistence. If persistence is what you need, and everybody does need it if you want to be a true success, and you don't already have it, this is how you develop it. And it's very simple. It's 4 basic steps. You need a definite purpose or goal. We talk about that. Goals are A goals, B goals, C goals. We're going to get more in depth next week into what goals actually are. But you need a definite purpose backed by a burning desire for its fulfillment. The problem with most people is, I've spoken to lots of people over the course of my lifetime, especially in this business now. We're in building a brokerage. I meet a lot of different walks of life in the course of the interviews and meetings and whatnot. And the problem is a lot of people, when I talk to them about goals, I've had many, many times where people almost challenge me and say, oh, I want to make $1 zillion tomorrow. Well, there's no real burning desire or fulfillment behind that goal. Sure, that's a good goal, but that's not really your goal. I remember when I was with Bob years ago. He was challenging me about changing my goal and making it a bigger goal. I said, and I was being facetious and sort of cocky at the time. I was like, oh, okay, I want to be an Olympic sprinter. He goes, you don't really want that. I said, no, I don't. So you can't have this burning desire, or you can't have this goal without the desire, without this emotional attachment to it. So you need to set a goal. You don't want to set $1 million in sales goal in real estate just to set the goal, and you don't really want that. You have to set something that you truly, really want. If you don't want the money, what do you want to do with that money? I speak to a lot of people who say, "Oh, money's not important to me." Yeah, well, it's really important to a lot of people in this planet. Jim Rome, I gave the example earlier about the apple, where you have this cumulative effect. You have to do it every single day, even if you don't see the immediate results. But he also talks about earning money. If you live in the US or Canada, making money is easy. He says you can go Google search his story about easy money. And he talks about making money in Cambodia is hard. The average salary in Cambodia is $100 in an entire year. In China, the average salary, I think, is something like $6,000 in an entire year. Earning money there is very difficult. You live in Canada, US, the average realtor earns $47,000 a year in North America. That's not a lot of money, but relatively speaking, it's a heck of a lot more money than if you lived in a different country. That being said, though, can you earn more? Absolutely. You can earn whatever you want to do, but you need to have this burning desire, this emotional fulfillment behind this goal in order to achieve it. Part 2 is you have to have a definite plan. So you have to have something that's expressed in a continuous action. So what that means is you can't just say, I want to work on my goal. I want the goal for 2015 to be $1 million in gross commission income for the year. And I'm going to work on it today, and in February I'll pick it up again, and then in April I'll revisit. That's not a continuous goal. A continuous goal is going to be every single day, or at the very least every single week. What action steps are you taking? What is the how-to plan? You don't need to know necessarily all these specific details, because if you've never done it before, there's going to be a lot of specific details you don't even know what they are, that you're going to have to build into your plan as you go along. But if you need this plan, then you can just tweak it and you shape it as you go along throughout the year. But 1, you have to have the goal. 2, you have to have a plan to set that goal. Part 3, is you have to close your mind to this negativity and this scourging influences, including from your family, your friends, your acquaintances, the news. The news is the worst one out there. My gosh, like how negative are they? But that being said, you have to close your mind out to that. You are the creator of your own life, the creator of your own results, and it all starts from within. The problem is people, if you don't have this persistence habit, and if you don't have this ability to lock out or block out everything negative, then you start to listen to it and you actually absorb it, and actually it starts to affect you. So 1, you got to set the goal. 2, you have to have a definite plan. And 3, you have to close off from these negativities. You understand that you're the creator of whatever you want in life. And 4, you have to have a friendly alliance with 1 or more persons who will encourage one to follow through with both plan and purpose, what we call a mastermind group. You need to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. If you're only earning $40,000, $50,000 a year selling real estate, the people you surround yourself with, they're probably also earning $40,000, $50,000 a year. That's the unfortunate part about it. And you're all talking about the exact same things, and those exact same things are getting the exact same results that you don't want. So what you need to do, you have to surround yourself with a group of people, 1, who are going to motivate you, 2, who are going to push you forward, 3, they'll keep you persistent, and 4, you have to make sure you have similar goals at the end of the day. Because if you have this great mastermind group, and the goal of the group is to earn $50,000 a year, and your goal is to earn $1 million a year, well, guess what? It's not going to happen. So you got to surround yourself with like-minded people. So we were creating a website. It's called therealtorcoach.com. It'll be live by the end of this week. You can all check it out by the end of the week. And what we're going to have there, we're actually going to have a mastermind group on there, and you're going to have a group where you can, 1, communicate socially through Facebook, and then you can also communicate We're going to have people's contact information there. So if you want to form groups, it's a fantastic group to get a part of, because you're going to have people pushing you forward. Because think about it. If 40% of people set goals of the population and only 60% of those people actually attain those goals, the large part of the population out there don't know what they're talking about anyways to help you with your goal. So if you're a part of this small, unique group of people, look, we had 2,000 people that we invited to this webinar today. I don't know exactly how many people are on it, but I know there's not 2,000 because we're only capped out at a certain amount. So that being said, look, not everybody wants to attain these goals. Not everybody wants to get up and get moving in life. So you're a unique group of people. So if you're on this webinar, good for you, but keep going with it. Okay, take this as your stepping stone to go to tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. But today, your homework has to be to pick up that book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And you have to read the chapter on persistence every single day for a minimum of 30 days. Okay? So for me, there's only so much I can do. And Andrew Carnegie was the catalyst for Napoleon Hill to write the book Think and Grow Rich. Andrew Carnegie asked Napoleon Hill to devote 20 years of his life to write a book about success. Now think about this. This is back in the 20s. And, you're during the Great Depression, and like nobody had jobs or income. And Andrew Carnegie approached Napoleon Hill and said, look, I want you to devote the next 20 years of your life. Now think about that, in the 20s, and his family. And says, wait, you're going to speak to Andrew Carnegie for 20 years and write a book, just one book in 20 years. It sounds ludicrous. But at the time, if you fast forward now, it's one of the best books ever written, and helps most people in life to get what they want. But what Andrew Carnegie really stated, he goes, no one has the ability to change anybody. I'm not going to change you in a 30-minute webinar. It's just not going to happen. Only you have the ability to change yourselves. I'm here to guide you and help you as a catalyst, but it's up to you to take that action step. So again, to recap, I can't do it for you, but you're going to have to do it on your own, but you can't do it alone. So we're going to be creating these websites, the realtorcoach.com and liverealtorcoaching.com. If you're looking for more help in your real estate business, I'm happy to help you. And these are great tools and resources for everybody to use. So again, check them out by the end of the week. They'll be live, and there'll be a lot of great resources in there. And then we can all go from there. So with that being said, just to recap. So again, to pursue any goal in life, you have 4 main criteria. You have to, 1, set the goal. 2, you have to have a plan for that goal. 3, lock out the negativity. And 4, make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people. You'll be glad you did. So that's it for the webinar today. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. We're not going to open up to questions, but this webinar will be available. We'll send it out to everybody, so it's a good tool to have in your toolbox that you refer back to every single time. And today, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and that's it.